What's up, guys? So, selling on Amazon could be confusing, and putting all your energy in the wrong direction can derail your business pretty quickly. So, in this video, I wanted to put together 5 common mistakes that Amazon sellers make, and also the mistakes that I have definitely made in the past. This is more of a don't do what I did type of video. So, just so that you guys can steer clear of these mistakes that I, along with other people, have made. So for those who don't know, my name is Garrett. I've been selling on Amazon for three years, going on my 4th year. And this year I'm going to be doing about $90,000 in revenue. I got a video coming out about my revenue for the year coming soon. So common mistake number 1 is shiny object syndrome. And this can be, geared towards any business really. You kind of want to stay focused, the main thing. A lot of what I did was I started with thrifting books, and then I went to online arbitrage, like traditional, buying brand new products from like Walmart and stuff like that. And then I finally went back to books, doing it the online arbitrage way. But then I also veered off. I started selling Pokemon cards, thinking that was going to be good, but it just was not. And then I went to selling all kinds of clothing and a whole bunch of stuff on eBay. And really what I needed to do is just double down on what was working, and I wasn't quite doing that. I was more than anything focusing on my low months, my February, my March, and the months where the book selling really and media selling really doesn't really do good. I was focusing on those, trying to find something to I guess sell during that time. And nothing that I could find was really working. I'm sure if I would have put forth as much energy as I am towards books, that it would eventually have worked. But what I really needed to do is just stay focused on books and focus on the seasons, and don't worry about the low months, because they're not gonna last forever. They'll eventually die out. But that's the main thing. For the common mistake, what you can do to fix that is just stay focused. Find what works and then double down on that. You want to diversify eventually, but at the beginning, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane until you've grown a snowball big enough to where you can start diversifying. Okay, now mistake number 2. Not using Keepa to see the sales history of a book. So my first year selling, I didn't really use Keepa. As a thrifter, it's really hard to lose money on a lot of books. There's books that don't sell, and that's the big issue for a lot of thrifters. But it's really hard to buy a book for $2 and not make money somewhat, because you can sell it for, I think it's like $12, and you'll still make money, probably even double your profit. Or double your money, I guess. So so for my first year I did that, and that's not how you need to do it. I have a video about how to read Keepa. I'll post it, say right here-ish, try to. And if you want, go check out that video. I'll go in a lot more detail, but you have to have some Keepa knowledge in order to kind of see where the product is sold in the past. Because if you don't, there's no way you can really price it except for off of what the current pricing is. And because the current pricing really means nothing. It could be way down because there's a Goodwill on it and they're just trying to get it out the door. And so the pricing says that it's selling for $15 when it usually sells for like $30, $40, $50. But Goodwill's just bringing that price down for the current time. Or it could be spiked up stupid high up to like $4,000 sometimes, where, or higher or lower, where someone's repricer is just going crazy because he's now the only one on the price or on the listing, and it just shoots up. So you got to take the current pricing with a grain of salt. I remember when I was thrifting, I found this mushroom farming book or something, or mushroom hunting book, and it was selling for like $300, and I thought I hit the jackpot. I bought it, came home, listed it, and it never sold. As I didn't have like Keepa to like look at. I didn't have Keepa to like go and see like, okay, well, it's only selling this much throughout the year, so I should probably price it lower, or, you know, anything like that. I had no Keepa knowledge. And it's just really, really hard. And especially if you're doing the online arbitrage method for finding books, you have to have Keepa knowledge. It's just a must. So use Keepa, and that will help you kind of price where you need to price rather than pricing what the current time is. You can look back and say, well, it's currently priced at 300, but it's only sold for 70 in the past. Stuff like that. All right, moving on. So mistake number 3, pricing your repricer too narrow. So I was a victim of this because I would go on there when I first started getting into the Be Cool repricing, and then looking off of Keepa. I was a victim of this because I would see like, okay, it's been sold at like $120, you know, but as Victor and Joji say, it's like a mountain. You know, the peak right here may be 120, but the shoulder was like more like 80, you know. So like you don't want to price it like 120 to 110. That's really narrow up here at the peak. It's very narrow. It's not where it's actually getting most of the sales is down here at 80. So you want to kind of spread it out to where you're getting the shoulder price and maybe even a little bit lower if you can afford it. That way that your repricer can do work, you know, because if you push it too low, it's just going to be sitting down here at your minimum at probably 110, to where it won't drop down to where it's actually selling at like 80. You might eventually get it sold up there. Like you can make it a little more narrow for like seasonal books if you want it. If you want to wait until the very last in, whenever you're getting those panic buyers, whenever they will pay that high dollar price to get it tomorrow type of thing, or the next few days type of thing, you can wait for that. That's one time you can be kind of narrow with it. But especially with books that don't really have a season, you know, widen that repricer up. I have a video as well with this one. I'll also put it right here, the Be Cool video, going in a little more deeper dive into how to find your minimum and your maximum on your pricing. And the next one, common mistake number 4, we got conditioning books very good or like new. This one, so conditioning books is very subjective. I'm going to come out with a video going in more deeper in detail on this, I think on Friday. So stay tuned for that. But conditioning books is very subjective. It's how you see a book is very good. Another person will see it as good. How you see a book is good. Some other people see it as acceptable. So what I used to do was I would price it at like new or very good whenever it was like wrapped, or whenever it was like very minimal scuffs on it. But you run into a lot of issues with that because you'll get a lot more negative reviews and stuff and all that. And like I said, I'm going to go into more detail with that on the next video. That way we can kind of explore a little deeper in there. But just know that the best thing you can do is probably condition all your books good. That way, or unless it's an acceptable. If it's an acceptable, put it as acceptable. But if it's even very good or even wrapped, I still put it as good. Sometimes I'll put it as very good if it's wrapped and it looks pristine. Every now and then I will, but pretty much the majority of my books, I condition them at good. That way it's quicker for me and I don't have to think about it too much. And most of the time, if it's a better condition than good, then I'll might get like a positive review. So now we'll move on to the last but not least common mistake number 5 is going too deep. I was a bad victim of this. I'm not going to say victim. I was making this mistake a lot at the beginning because I was coming from the world of traditional OA, where you're trying to buy hundreds of units that sell like crazy and everything. And that in that world, going deep is kind of your asset. You want to go deep on things. But whenever I transitioned over to online arbitrage books, I was trying, kind of still had the same mindset of, go deep, so that way you don't have to do so many different products and yada yada yada. And I went super deep on a lot of things, like I went 30 deep on one DVD, and it was selling like crazy good. Whenever I first was getting into it, I was thinking I was selling, you know, I would say I sold like 10 of them in a month. No, 10 of them in 2 months. And I think I sold it for $99. So my thought process was, okay, I'll buy 30 of them and I'll drop the price down, because I was getting it less than $20 a piece. So I was thinking, well, I'll buy 30 of them and I'll drop the price down to like 70, 80-ish. Then I'll get a lot more sales throughout the month. Well, as soon as I bought 30 of them, the price dropped and went down to 40, and which, like, it's not a huge return, so I'm like making a lot less, but my repricer was stuck up there. And so I sat on those for a long time, and even whenever I dropped my repricer down to match the buy box, I still couldn't move them. And I really had no reason why. It just wouldn't move. And I sat on 30. I'm still sitting on 30 of them a whole year and 2 months later after I bought them. And I'm slowly but surely, getting like one a month sold. So it's been a slow crawl to get rid of those. But whenever you're dealing with books, the better thing to do is go wide rather than going deep, because going deep is risky business for books. You'll be sitting on them for a long time. I mean, unless the book is just a crazy mover, which I haven't found one book where I get the buy box constantly and then I sell like, a whole bunch in a single day. If you can find that book, awesome, but be careful about the IP complaints and stuff like that, because that's usually the type of books that the book owner or the author will probably try to kick you off the listing and stuff. So just be careful on those books. But if you do find one, awesome, but I still wouldn't go too deep. Maybe if you're confident that you can sell 10 in a month, go that deep. But be careful with those. But start small and scale up gradually, because in the OA book art model, it's more about how many books can you track and buy consistently. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's taken me a whole year now, and now I've got a good track where I can pretty much buy 1 or 2 books per day off of my Keep It tracker, and that's really helpful with everything. And hopefully, the more that I do this, the eventually it'll get to where it's just tracking where I'm buying from mainly. But only time will tell with that one. But that's it, guys. Comment down below if some of the mistakes you have made on your Amazon book journey. I'd love to hear those, because I'm not perfect. These are all of my mistakes, and I know that there's others out there, and so I'd love to hear them. And if you want to start to make sure your Amazon journey is going on the right course, watch the next video that's recommended. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. Later.